So we go here with ecofeminism. You have the picture. Someone would have drawn this from the imagination, from their dream, how the women are related to the earth. If you really look at it, observe this picture, you can see that how women are rooted in the earth. We had seen last time how we are part of the universe, and earth is a part of it. And this slide shows how our reflections are on the earth, either our reflections or the earth reflecting on us. It is, in fact, because earth came first into existence. The evolution took place, this planet. And then we were evolved or we were created, whatever is our belief system. So earth is reflecting on us. All the qualities of the earth is in us. It is not that what is in us is reflected in the earth. No. What is in the earth? What are the intrinsic qualities of the earth is reflected in each of us. So there, with this short introduction, we go to ecofeminism. Ecofeminism movement, in fact, the thinking came almost in the mid-1970s. Look at this picture itself. How the Mother Earth, or how the living beings and non-living beings are embedded on the lap of the Mother Earth. The Mother Earth is very adoptive. She can receive everyone. Though she is fragile, she is strong. She is very resilient. She can adapt. She can forgive. She can adjust with both weak and the strong. There is harmony within her. In the midst of the diversity, there is harmony in her. That is her uniqueness. And that is reflected in me and in you. That is a similarity, or that is what all that qualities of the earth is mirroring in us. Those qualities are intrinsic in us. If we can recall the webinar of last week, there is a collective wisdom of the universe in us, and therefore there is a collective wisdom of the earth planet in us. And we are part of it. So ecofeminism is an integration of ecology and feminism. You know, whatever happens to the Mother Earth happens to us. I just recalled while I was reflecting on this, the Joffred and Ralfred. All of you are very much familiar with these two names, Joffred and Ralfred Gregory. These are the twins who died with COVID. And their father said, whatever happens to one, it happens to the other. Similarly, we are twins. We are twin sisters, the Mother Earth and we women. We are twins. Whatever happens to the women happens to the earth. Whatever happens to the earth happens to us. It's a dimension that evolves itself into life-giving and caring. Look at our innate qualities, our basic qualities, life-giving, giving life, giving birth, new lives, and then caring. So these are very much intrinsic in every woman, and also in the earth. We are part of the earth. We are part of the universe. No one can separate us. Every imagery that is seen here has got its meaning. We are part of the earth. We are part of the universe. We can see our own image in this image that is presented here. We cannot separate ourselves from the earth. Nor the earth can separate us. We are children of the earth. We are children of the stars. So the belief system is the social mentality leads to domination and oppression of women. So the belief system of the society is that anything that is weak, anything that is a bit vulnerable, that should be dominated and they should be oppressed. As a result, that leads to the abuse of the environment and abuse of the women. So we have the societal terms, the thinking of the society that anything that is weak, fragile should be dominated and oppressed. And that is a principle being used for the destruction of the environment and the minority communities, especially the women. Nature personified as a woman, considered as the source and guiding force of creation. In fact, the earth, the mother earth, is the source of life. She keeps on giving birth every moment. Every moment there is a new life. There is a new seed sprouting. There is a new butterfly born. There is a new insect being created. There is a new worm. Every moment, millions of life is brought forth by her. And so, the same quality is in woman. So, that giving life is the intrinsic quality of the earth and the woman. And therefore, nature is personified as a woman. Here are some certain phrases: virgin earth, fertile land, barren soil. This is a very common that we use. Virgin earth, fertile land, barren soil. Look at the terms that is being used for a woman. She is virgin and there is fertility in her. And these are considered as two ornaments of women. But if it is not in men, we are not bothered. Only the women should have this. Of course, these are real ornaments. These are really valuable values in us. But with that, sometimes they suppress us. And similarly, the land. With this short introduction, we are going to how the exploitation and the degradation of the earth is taking place, and the similar exploitation and degradation of the women taking place. That's a second stage of this webinar. The phrase virgin forest to refer to a forest that has been untouched and which awaits mastering. This is a coal mine. Just look at the land, the way the land is butchered. This is only a portion of the coal mine. So vast forest cover is destroyed. And the entire region is polluted. The water is polluted. The air is polluted. The virgin forest is conquered. And therefore, if she is virgin, she has to be raped. So the way they are mastering, we can use the term rape the earth, indicates how the degradation of the earth is related to sexual abuse of women. So rape a woman, rape the earth is all coiled terms that is being used, Exploitation and degradation of the natural world and women. Again, the figure that is given here, how much we are part of it. I remember some of the sisters telling me that when I look at something, I really feel that the tree looks like a person, that tree looks like a woman, that figure looks like that cloud looks like a child. Everywhere we can see, if we have the eyes of God, we can see the image of God in everything. We can see the image of God, the creator, in the trees, in a butterfly, in a wriggling worm, in a cat or a dog or a snake, in everything. The beauty of the creature, the beauty is reflecting the beauty of the creator. We are afraid of. We feel so ugly with certain things. I don't think that God created ugly things. Otherwise, he would not have said, after creating, he said, everything is good. So God has not cheated us. He said the truth. Everything is good. It depends, the beauty depends on the eyes of the beholder. So it is like that. What do I carry within me? That is reflected. So when we look at, if we carry the image of God, we will see God's image on the entire creation, the entire universe. So we are going to see the next, the exploitation and degradation. Francis Bacon, one of the scientists, he justified the need for science, that nature be coerced, penetrated, and forced, rob her secrets through torture by using scientific methods. So if you look at it, our ancestors never tortured the earth. Then came the Green Revolution, and then came the Industrial Revolution, followed by, in order to improve the production, we went into Industrial Revolution, then started the entire destruction of the earth. Very scientifically, we started to use machines and started the destruction. So Vandana Shiva responded to that, to Bacon, and said, for Bacon, nature was no longer Mother Nature, but a female nature conquered by an aggressive masculine mind. So this is so much in us. Every time we hear in many of our meetings, we hear the patriarchy, the masculine power, the masculine mind to conquer the weakest. So that is what the masculine mind is seeking, and that is what they have done to the earth. Aristotle also was not much different. He influences the Western thinking. Greek males were examples of reason, while women and slaves were servile people who were to be subdued. So the women can be subdued. Women can be, you can do anything with the women. They are voiceless. They are the marginalized. They are the people who will not raise their voice against us. We are more powerful and strong. And as a result, if you look at our Western culture itself, the colonization, when we look at, why did the colonization take place in different countries? Nothing but in order to steal the wealth of the earth, in order to conquer and subjugate the earth. That was their ultimate aim. That is why the environmentalists very often they blame the Christians. The Western world means nothing else but Christianity. And therefore, the Western world conquered most of the places, the regions where there was wealth, where the land and the soil was virgin, where the environment was virgin, where the forest was virgin. So subdued everything. That was the nature of the masculine. That was the nature of the science. And then we went ahead with it. Some thinkers say man is the noble and powerful figure, while woman and nature are to be tamed and controlled. Both women and the earth bring forth life, but only an instrumental and subservient way that meets a need of men. So for women, the work is only to fulfill the needs of men. Similarly, the earth. We conquer the earth, amass wealth, and that is what they need. They need the power. Okay, they need the power of wealth, and they need to satisfy their physical needs, their sexual needs with women. So these are the things. After that, they are useless. Then you can do anything with the earth. You can do anything with the women. The same attitude they continued, and they controlled and tamed the women as well as the earth. So what happens to Mother Earth happens to us. Whatever happens to the Mother Earth happens to us. Whatever happens to the entire universe, it is happened to us. Look at that. The water is polluted. It is happening to us. It is not only the Mother Earth is suffering. We are suffering because we do not have potable water. The soil is polluted. It is happening to us. We are not able to eat clean food. The air is polluted, affecting the entire life of the planet Earth, including we. We require 16 trees. 16 trees are providing me oxygen, but we have cut them. All the oxygen belts are cut and thrown. The lung of the earth, the Amazon forests are invaded. And even in Northeast, that we have Karbi Angalam forest. That was the lung of Northeast. That's being invaded. So everywhere, whatever is happening to the earth, it is not just happening to the earth, the mud or the soil, but it is happening to us. It is happening to our life. Look at that. Both of us are chained. We are chained. The animals are chained. Women are chained. How are we chained? It is not with just a chain. But I would say that we are chained when we look at the sex and gender, with the gender difference, that we are chained. We are chained because we are born women. The custom and culture of the place, the customs will dictate to me what I have to do, what I have to speak, how I have to smile, how I have to laugh, what I have to eat. I have to eat last or first. What type of school should I go? The girl should go. I'm chained. What type of dress I should wear? I don't have the freedom to choose my dress. I don't have the freedom to move in my own house. I don't have the freedom to move in my own society. I am chained by the customs and cultures of the place. My mouth is closed. I cannot talk. I can't make decisions. I have no role. But I have a stereotype role that is dictated by the society. Only what society says I can do. You are a girl, you have to behave this way. I'm chained. You are a girl, you cannot speak over the other person, your brother. I'm chained. You are a girl, you have to go to someone else's house. Therefore, you need not to get good education. I'm chained. I'm chained just like an animal. Very often I am unaware of it. I'm bottled. The water is bottled. The environment is in fact bottled. The free running water is restricted today. I have to purchase. I have to purchase the drinking water which is given by God freely as a gift, the blue gold. It is being bottled. Similarly, the women and children are bottled. We are tied down, especially when we deal with the human trafficking. We are tied down in rooms. We are sometimes tied down inside the cupboards. We are kept there for sale. And this is what has happened to the earth. We have killed all the animals with the pesticides and insecticides, and that has affected us. This is the effect of endosulfan, which is being used in Calicut, Kerala for all the cashew nut trees. And all those who sprayed, they became victims of the effect of endosulfan. And the same way, the children who are born in this way, and we have another big tragedy that has taken place in Bhopal. Some of our senior sisters would have witnessed. Children, even now, they are born sick, they are born handicapped, and thousands and millions of children are affected by this insecticide and pesticide. Similarly, the environment, when we spray the pesticide or insecticide anywhere, even in the garden or in the field, there is a chain of death that is taking place. Not only the cockroach died, but the birds that ate the cockroach, not only the rats died, but those birds though ate the rat, everyone, even the snakes, everyone has vanished from the face of the earth. Look at the fields, we do not have frogs. Look at the fields, we do not have that small fish. We do not have. We have all, in case if there is, they are contaminated ones. So death is taking place every moment. When we do something to the earth, we are not doing only to the earth, we are doing to the human beings. Remember that. This is, we have to be very, very conscious of that. I'm not just doing to an insect, but I'm doing to myself. So this consciousness should come in us. Oppressed and killed. We just think that trees can be cut down. If you look at the Indian culture, in the Indian religion, they, before they cut the tree, they pray. There is a puja being done, and they pray, ask sorry from the tree. Only after that they cut the tree. But today the machines that they use for cutting down the trees in hundreds and millions, they lost that sense of recognizing God's presence in the creation. And in the same way, killing a woman is nothing. It is useless. She is being used. Now I can kill and finish and throw her. I can rape her. I can do anything with her. Every day we have in newspapers and in the news, TV news, that children being raped, the weakest, the women being raped, the weakest, the voiceless, the marginalized. Here we have once again, you are tagged for a price. Women are tagged for a price. Young girls are tagged for a price. They are kept. You go, this particular child or the girl is in this particular room in hotels. You can use for one night. You have to pay 25,000. This one is not so beautiful, and therefore she is 10,000. You are tagged with the labels. Many of our trafficked girls and women, they are tagged for price, either for the servitude, domestic work, or for the sex work. Similarly, whatever we are robbing or stealing from the earth, they are all priced with a tax. We are commodities to be sold. The women are burnt alive, and so the forest. The companies, the corporate companies, the corporate world is just burning and naming it as forest fire. They play the mechanism behind. When they want to evacuate people, they burn their houses. The voiceless are always evacuated, and that is going on in the minorities in Assam now. So they are burnt alive, they are butchered, because they are useless, they are minorities, they are voiceless. So both women and the earth can be burned. We are in the midst of the throwaway culture. I'm sure that many of us are part of this throwaway. Not only these syringes, anything. Yes, plastic is brought, yes, throw it off. That wrapper is there, throw it off. We do not think a minute to see whether I can reuse this. None of us think. As soon as we find, throw it off. It's a kachra in the language of Hindi. We say it's useless. What you can do? What is dirty? For us, everything is dirty. Nothing is clean for us. And we dirty the Mother Earth, which is so clean. We have dirtied the throwaway culture. Same way, we throw away the babies, especially when the fetus is recognized, diagnosed as female fetus, thrown out. So throwaway culture, not only we are dirtying the earth, not only we are polluting the earth, not only we are polluting the water, we are also polluting the human mind, and we are polluting and killing without being formed a conscience. We just kill the fetus. We just kill the girl babies. We just throw away the children, especially the girl children we throw away. So the throwaway culture is very much in us. I don't blame only the men, but we female who are very feminine and part of the earth, who are bestowed with the good qualities of the earth, we have made, many of us have made our heart so hard, and we have started the same culture of throwaway, dirtying the mother earth, making the mother earth cry, polluting the mother earth, as well as throwing away the human beings, especially the female fetus. Another part of the throwaway culture. And as a result, extinction of species. We do not have the Asian cheetah in India. They have brought now from Africa 3 cheetahs, but they are of African. They are not Asian. They are extinct today. We have used them for leather factories have used them. Maybe in future we will have to draw and show them how a tiger looks like. The future generation may not see a tiger. The extinction of species is taking place especially among the women. If we look at the sex ratio of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, all these places, the sex ratio is the women number, the female number is very, very low, 825 for 1,000 men. And as a result, now they do not have female or girls there for marriage. And so they do not have girls there. They come to Jharkhand, they come to Chhattisgarh, they come to Northeast in search of girls, and they take them to those places. And there are traffickers who carry these girls and sell them in these states, and they get married over there. Many have got settled there from Northeast, I know for that sure. Similarly, from Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand and Orissa. So extinction of species not only taking place with the animal kingdom, but it is also taking place among the human beings, especially with the women. The women number is reducing drastically. Anything that is a loss, anything that does not bring money or profit, should be eradicated and eliminated from the world. That is the principle. Only the trees, plants, animals that will bring money have the right to live. Others have no right. And as a result, we know how we treat the elderly people. I think today is the International Day of the Elderly People. So anything that is useless, they have no right to live. Only that can bring profit and comfort or money or power to me, they can live. Ancient trees like people and other trees, ficus family, are useless and they cut them away. In fact, we think that the ficus family, take the case of a people or a banyan tree, which we see very common in India. People do not want them there because they will destroy. They are not the building friendly. That is sure. They are not building friendly. But if they are staying in a forest or far away from the building, why should we cut them down? Because I want to keep either a fruit tree there. That is what my purpose is. But if we have one people tree in our area, I tell you, that will clean our air, clean the air of that entire area. If we can preserve one people tree or a banyan tree, especially the people tree, it will clean the entire area and it will supply oxygen in abundance, including some of the science they say they also supply even at night 24 hours. Similarly, the tulsi, now we have the snake palm tree, snake palm plants, the herbs that also supply 24 hours. And the bamboo trees supply 4 times more than other trees, the oxygen. So we need to maintain these trees around our campus. This is very important. If I can recall as a child, I have seen in some of the places we have the tree grows. A particular portion of the land is kept, the trees are kept there, they are grow. And that tree grove is kept what for? Two purposes. One, they will supply water for the land. Okay, the trees, the roots of the trees, 30% of the water is kept by the roots of the trees. And therefore, in the area, they will have water supply always. So they keep. Secondly, they also keep this people tree and a lot of trees around. They keep that for the to control the pollution, to supply enough oxygen for the villagers. And they had their meetings under these tree groves. So they were sanctuaries. They were actually sanctuaries where they could have the meetings, where they preserved life. So wherever there is life, where there is a preservation of life, they are known as sanctuaries. But today, we find if they are not good and they are not bringing money, we count the value of a tree, similarly value of the human beings, especially the women, in terms of money. So this is another part of our story, the plight of girl children. If at all we are born, we are deprived of all the rights, even as a child. We are a loss for the family. And so you go for domestic work, child labor, mainly the girls are being sent. Looking at this, we have chained the Mother Earth there, the forest. We have also chained the children. Is it a sign of civilization? Or is it a sign of subjugation? Gandhiji said, today of course is Gandhi Jayanti day, but Gandhiji said, we can say our country is civilized only when the women can stand on the podium along with the men and speak and address the crowd. That day we can say our country is civilized. The day the women are empowered to address the issues, that day we can say our country is civilized. But how do we treat our women today? Though we have one side empowerment, another side we see the subjugation, just as we subjugate the earth. 1/3 of the humanity does not have access to clean drinking water. Who suffers? The women, not the men. No water, the mother is very upset. The grown-up girls are very upset because from where will we bring water? We need for cooking, we need for drinking, we need for washing, we need for cleaning our dress, for everything, dishwashing, washing the clothes, everything we need water. The men are not much worried. The women have to go behind them and say that there is no water, please find a way. But they are more worried about their business and rest of how we can bring money. So who suffers when the environment is at danger? Who suffers? It is the women. The women who are part of the earth are suffering along with the Mother Earth. We have not inherited the land from our ancestors. We are just borrowing it from our children. We have not inherited the land from our ancestors, whereas we are borrowing it from our children. We never keep this in mind. We always think what I can do, how much benefit I can get today, that much I plunder it. What should I keep for my children? I'm not worried. Now, seeing the depressed case, in fact, of the earth and the women, we are going to see the wealth and the wisdom in women and in the earth. Spirit is the feminine image of God, and that her functions are personified in Lady Wisdom of the Hebrew Scriptures. So the Spirit hovered over the creation. Story tells us the Spirit hovered and the life emerged. The feminine spirit, the feminine image, the life is in women. Wisdom that guides, oversees, and fashion and gives life. So wisdom of life is within us. Wisdom of life is here, hidden in the womb of the earth. Look back to the history of life. Women had been always close to nature. Women had been close to fire. Women had been close to water. Women had been close to forest and soil. Simple examples. They cooked food with fire. They had such worship towards fire. That's why our ancestors worshipped fire. Our ancestors worshipped the water, the rivers. And so our women, because without water they cannot lead their life. Forest. All the wealth they received was from the forest. They got the firewood for their daily life. They got definitely the vegetable from the forest. And forest was places, the sanctuaries of worship. And so the soil, which they used for cultivation. So their food was there in the field. And so women were who cultivated in the field. Men went for hunting, but the women went to the field. They were close to fire, they were close to water, they were close to forest, they were close to soil. So women were part of nature. Women, even today, we are part of it, but we have kept ourselves away from the soil. We played as children, we played in the soil. Today, children, they do not touch the soil, they don't touch the mud, but it is healing. Mother Earth heals us. Feminine wealth, life-giving, and relatedness. We have a relationship. We are close to the Mother Earth. We are close to people. We have a great sense of admiration. We are very caring. We are nurturing. We are forgiving. And we are connected with everything. We are connected to people. We are connected to Mother Earth. These wealth are essential for appreciating and sustaining the environment. So the woman carries all these within her in order to sustain the Mother Earth. In fact, women got all this nature from the Mother Earth. And it is give and take. Both of us use for our sustenance. I need my Mother Earth, and the Mother Earth needs me, my care, my concern. Both women and nature have the life-giving and nurturing qualities. In them, there is relatedness and intimacy. In women lies the relatedness and intimacy, and so the Mother Earth. The feminine wisdom stands for creativity rather than destruction. Women think 10 times before they destroy something. And there is empowerment rather than domination. We always give up. Okay, let that be, let it be, let them do. You know, we always withdraw. We don't dominate. And we have activity rather than passivity. We are people who work hard. We people who can take action to take care of our family, to take care of our Mother Earth. Historically, we had a very positive, eco-friendly culture, proximity to nature, religious sanctions, trees, rivers, dependence on nature for basic needs. The people worshipped the sun, and we look at them and we laugh at them. Early morning, even today, our Indian culture says they look at towards east, they first worship the sun at the east. If there is no sunrise, remember, we have no day and night. We have no months and weeks. We have no years. We have no seasons. There is no sprouting of the plants. No Mother Earth. Mother Earth will not be alive. If Mother Earth is not alive, we are not alive. So the life giver is seen reflected in the sun. Sun is the life giver. So first they look at the sun, the image of God, the life giver is there first. So first I worship, I recognize the life giver and I worship him. So it is part and parcel of our life. This is one of the campaigns. In fact, I have done it in Patna. We organized the women to safeguard this lake. This lake was getting polluted. Therefore, we had a campaign. The women can do a lot and they care for water. They said this lake is a very sustaining lake. And many of the people, the entire village is depending upon this lake. And this is getting polluted and we need to take care of it because we were earlier using for drinking water from this lake. Today we are not able to use because of the pollution. So the women came forward and they made a campaign. So women can do, women should take care of the nature and we have that caring capacity. Chipko Andolan, many of you are very much familiar with it. When the corporate world came first, Chandi Bhatt, he dared to organize women to hug the trees. So this has happened in India years ago. So Chipko Andolan is a simple example where women cared for the environment. The women protect their communities and the immediate environment that is being poisoned by technological advancement. Here is another valiant woman for the earth. All of you know her. All of you are very familiar with her, and especially our sisters of Pune province and Nagpur province, the Mehta Patkar, who has fought. Even today she is fighting for the Narmada river, which is the live stream of Gujarat, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. They are fighting against the dam Sardar Sarovar Dam that is being built. Narmada Bachao Andolan, she led this. The woman led this. The woman cared for it. And she even organized the Jal Satyagraha. The women were in the water against building this dam. The corporate world again, for whom the dam is not for the people. It is for all companies. We have also the warrior of food security. You know her also so well, that Vandana Shiva, the great Vandana Shiva. She fights for food. Who decides our food? Is it the government that is deciding our food or we decide our food? Is it the Monsanto company that is deciding our food or the Nestle company that is deciding our food? These are the two major corporate world, two major companies that are preparing the GM seed, the genetically modified seed, which is useless, which has no vitamin in it, which has no nourishing quality in it. So she is fighting, a woman. What are we doing? We are all sitting and praying. Are we aware of these women who are fighting for our food? She is fighting even today, you know. Seed is the source of life. And the first link in the food chain, control over seed means control over our lives, our food and our freedom. She said that very strongly. Today also she is fighting for the food security. She is fighting against these companies, the Monsanto and the Nestle company, who are producing the GM seed, the useless seed. What has happened to our ancient seeds? Our food chain is broken. And these seeds, the GM seeds, can be only with the pesticide and chemical fertilizers can grow. Whereas our ancient seeds, our primal seeds, they could grow in the ordinary mud, in the ordinary soil. So they are getting vanished. Many of our ancient seeds are vanished. Today we have to go to purchase the seed from these companies. They have made the farmers slaves to these companies. Why do our farmers commit suicide? Because they do not have the other seed with them. So they have to go to the companies. They have to depend upon the companies to purchase seed. And these seeds require chemical fertilizers. So they have to depend again for the companies. They have to purchase pesticide. So they have to depend upon. They need more water. When they put more the chemical fertilizers like urea, they require a lot of water for the production, for the cultivation. Naturally, our farmers have to depend upon all these companies, and they have to go to take loan, which they are not able to repay. Our farmers commit suicide. When the men commit suicide, what is happening to the women in the families? Imagine. This many thousands and millions of farmers have committed suicide. Even today, the farmers are sitting there in Delhi, the borders of Delhi. What are they asking for? They are fighting for our food. They are fighting for our plates. And how much do we feel? How much do we pray for them? We are not able to go and sit there, but how much do we feel for them? We as women, what is our duty? We have our daily bread at our table. We have money to purchase, but think of the millions of poor who will be suffering. This year, the price will go high for the food products, especially because these farmers are sitting almost a year there. More than a year, they are fighting for their rights, right to food, and they have not gone for cultivation. The price is going to be, the granaries are going to run dry. So we have to go along with these people. We have to sympathize with them. We have to understand them. We have to speak to our farmers. This is our feminine quality. And we have to empower our farmers and especially our women. We have also people, the very empowered women, like in the Christian community. If you look at our sister Valsa John, who died, who was killed. She fought against the coal mafia. She prepared the youth, but the coal mafia, they purchased those youth. And the same youth whom she had organized, whom she helped, they are the instruments used by the coal mafias, the companies, to finish her, to vanish her from the face of the earth. Of course, we have the Stan Swami, since he is not a feminine figure, I am not saying, but he has also fought for the same. He fought for the jungle, he fought for the forest, he fought the rights of the tribals, he fought for the soil, he fought for the food of the people, for the rights of these voiceless people. So we have several people. Even if you look at Rani Maria, it is the same case, that she fought for those voiceless people who were eating the brain of the money lenders, who were eating the brain of these poor people. The money lenders simply cheated them. And she fought, she educated these poor people. She educated those farmers. And those money lenders, they are also a big mafia. They killed the Rani Maria. So we have a lot of martyrs with us. A.T. Thomas also, if you look at, he also died in the same way in Hazaribagh. So we have also several figures in our own field, activists who have died for the Mother Earth, died for the voiceless people. And Vandana Shiva again, when you are doing the right thing for the earth, she gives you great company. Women are believed to be closer to nature, so no domination, but we have only care. We cannot adopt the quality of the men of dominating the earth, but we have to adopt or cultivate or empower ourselves with the quality of care. Ecofeminism seeks to move beyond the dualistic worldview and restructure our notion of power. So what is our mission? Our mission is to redefine how society look at productivity and activity. Productivity, the innate quality of the earth is production, and so the women production. And we are active, so women and nature. The Holy Spirit, she is the creative origin of life and extends life-giving power throughout history. This is the dimension of the divine that dwells within. It is a spirit who heals, recreates, and renews. The spirit is related to the earth. The spirit is related to the women. Our mission is to forge a lifestyle that is sustainable. We have to adopt a lifestyle that is sustainable. Protect our mother and our home. The spirit shapes the world and restores it to harmony. Wisdom causes us to be reborn with a new life. She renews the face of the earth the oikos. Oikos, the home. All the living or non-living creatures dwell within us in this cosmic house, in this oikos, in this home, in this house. We are living together. Being a planetary citizen does not need space travel. It means being conscious that we are part of the universe and of the earth. We are part of the universe and of the planet Earth. The most fundamental law is to recognize that we share the planet with other beings and that we have a duty to care for our common home. Let's not think only human beings are living. No, we are sharing our home with other beings, both living and non-living beings. So we are living in a common home, which is a property of everyone. Today we walk on the shoulders of giants of the past. Every person, great and small, every atom, molecule, speck of dust, plants, trees, birds and animals, everything, including sun, moon and stars, have contributed to what we are today. Both are two sides of the same coin. The nature, the earth and the women, the universe and the planet Earth. We are all the two sides of the same coin. The season of creation invites everyone to repent from our way of living that destroyed the Mother Earth and reshape a new way of living that will sustain life on earth and will rebuild our common home. Season of creation is inviting us to sustain, to adopt a lifestyle that is sustainable, sustain life on earth. And therefore we rebuild our common home. God waits to be discovered and loved. Do not search him or her only in the churches and temples. He is there concealed, the womb of your mother. Many of us can recollect what that great man, Rabindranath Tagore, said, "Open thy eyes and see, the God whom you worship in this temple is not here. He is there where the pathmaker is cutting stones. He is there in the rain and in the wind and in the soil." And that is what our God is. Our God is that. His image is in everything, in his entire creation. He is there concealed in the womb of your mother. Search him there. Search him in the sanctuaries. Search him in the midst of this wriggling worm. Search him in the midst of the grass. Search him in the jungle. Search him in the birds that are flying in the sky. He is everywhere. Our home is in danger today. Our home is endangered by climate disasters and conflicts. It must be renewed using the wisdom of women. It should be renewed using the wisdom of the spirit. It should be renewed using the wisdom of the earth. The season of creation renews in our hearts the call to ecological conversion, which is said in the Laudato Si, the metanoia, that the conversion of the spirit, conversion of the culture, conversion of our thinking, conversion of our acting, in every activity, there should be a conversion. Now, thinking, there should be a conversion. Our understanding, there should be a conversion. Then that will be reflected in our action. Renewing the oikos of God is returning to the initial desire of the Creator. How God created the earth. Can we hand over a clean earth to our coming generation, to our children? How did our ancestors hand over this earth to us? Can we hand over the same clean land, the same clean planet Earth to our children. We need to renew. We need to repent. We need a conversion within us. Let us break the walls of dualism, the strong and the weak, the marginalized and the powerful, as we separate day and night, as we separate the sun and the moon. The sun is strong, the moon is weak. The hills are strong, the mountains are strong, and the rivers are weak. No, let us break all this dualism. We are one. We need both strong and the weakest. We need both good and bad. We need everyone. We need the voiceless and the strong. And the synergy of our life, the synergy, all our qualities should come together and should be a creative element here on earth. Ecofeminism for the unity and balance of all creation to realize that oneness. Our family is made up of humanity and each of the species that inhabit in this planet. Our common home, the earth, a home for all. It is a home for all, not only, as I said, human beings, for everything. If we look at our vow of chastity, we look at our rule of life, Article 17.3, chastity is lived in our diverse engagements and relationships. What are these diverse engagements and relationships? We think very narrow way. I say we need to extend and expand and, think outside the box. Our diverse engagements. Engagements with people, engagements with environment. And in all our relationship with the people and with the creatures and everything that God created. Chastity to be lived in everything. Not only in our day-to-day life with human beings. No, it's a question of relationship. It's a question of engagement with everything. It is manifested concretely in our readiness to welcome everyone. Not only everyone, in everything that God has created. The entire creation. In every situation. And our participation in the universal love of Christ develops the riches of our feminine nature. Now, again, our understanding of universal love of God, universal love of Christ. He loved the entire universe. Do we? And we are called to participate in that love of Christ. The love of Christ, the Christ love that is manifested in the entire universe. His love for the entire universe. And that recognition of his love in the entire universe develops the riches of a feminine nature. As we understand God's love, the feminine nature of God's love, the more we realize and the more we will cultivate and the more we will diversify, it will flow out of us, that feminine nature, the love, the universal love to everything. I will never neglect anything. I will never say that is bad, this is good, that is dirty, this is that. No, I will not have any distinction. All that God created, if he has said everything is good, and then it is good. It is beautiful. And they all sustain our life. And that is what the chastity is calling us. Extend our love to everything, to everyone. And this is what the life of chastity. One more thing, one more Article 18 also I was reflecting. By the vow of chastity, we consecrate to God our power to love. It is not just consecrating during when we take the vow of chastity, poverty, obedience. During chastity, we consecrate everything God and finish there. No. Our consecration, our power to love is shared with everything, placing it in the service of his plan of love for the world, love for the planet Earth, love for the universe. To live in ever-growing intimacy with the Lord makes us enjoy the beatitude of seeing God in all things, which is promised to the pure of heart. What do we understand when we read? We have this here, the rule of life, special study. And the rule of life group is working hard on this. I think we can still open our ears, open our eyes, open our minds. We can begin to think outside the box and see that God's power, the consecrated God, our power to love everything. Seeing God in all things, which is promised to the pure of heart. It is not in heaven, it is here on earth. If I see God in all things, his presence, even in heaven, I see him in the same way. So let me begin to see God, not in heaven, but here on earth, in every living creature, in the sand where non-living elements are there. I see in the sand, I see in the ocean, I see in the desert, I see in the sky, I see in the sun and in the moon, in the stars, everywhere. And so, Article 18 is calling us to see God in all things. Share the love, share the power of love with all things. I cannot end this ecofeminism without recalling our mother foundress, Claudine, mystic and a prophet. She sought God in everything. This mystical experience led her to make a prophetic move. You want to be a prophet, then begin to see God in all things. We can be mystics only if we can wonder at his creation. Only if I can wonder at the most ugly thing what I consider the image of God. I remember even today, just before our profession, Father James, who is uncle of Sister Stella and Sister Jaya Ambrose and Stella Ambrose, he had come to meet us and he gave us a short talk. I remember him saying, a mystic is a person of God can see God in all things. He can see God in filth. He can see God in sin. He can see God in dirt. He can see God in everything. That very sentence is resonating in my heart and mind. It echoes, and that is a mystic, and she is a prophet. She is a mystic who can see God in all things. She sought God in everything. She could see the major God in everything. Whereas many of us, we have to grow still in that. It's being read every time, but it is good that we begin to see God's hand in all things, and we will grow as mystics and prophets. Respect her, adore her, worship her in all things, as women always did it. Respect her, adore her, worship her in all things, as women always did it. Our partnership with nature cannot be denied. We are partners in everything. Yes. Every action that we do, we have a partnership with Mother Earth. Everything that we do is in connection with Mother Earth. We don't realize that. Everything that we do in connection with the soil, the water, the air, we are connected. The light, the darkness, everything we are connected. We are partnership with the entire nature, and we cannot deny this fact. So with this partnership and with this connectedness, we go from here. Thank you so much for listening to me patiently. Thank you.